You and I left a good life behind a long time ago, my friend.
From the moment the Baba Yaga first dropped a gold coin in front of Sharon at the Continental, the John Wick series established an instantly fascinating mythology. A global chessboard where an archaic code pits those of service to the villainous high table against those looking to suplex 300-pound bodyguards through that very table. In Chapter 4 of this story, John Wick's vendetta has forced the table into open warfare, and it thrives on John's acceptance of the fact that even he can't win this war on his own. The rules and consequences the John Wick universe has taken such care to establish provide its fourth chapter with a rock-solid structure that allows for director Chad Stahelski and star Keanu Reeves to stage a symphony of on-screen action, with every component driving to elevate the others. It is the longest John Wick movie, it is the most John Wick movie, and folks, it is the best John Wick movie, and it's not even really close. An early maneuver on John's part forces the high table past the point of no return. Wick must be made an example of, and that task falls to Bill Skarsgård's very willing Marquis de Gramont. With Skarsgård, the John Wick universe finally gets its first supervillain. As the high table's emissary, he drips entitlement and hypocrisy with every very French accented word he purrs.
You come here thinking there is a way out of this world for you, Mr. Wick.
In contrast to Chapter 2's Santino D'Antonio, whose primary leverage over John was personal, that was the unpaid blood debt that John had to make good on, the sadist Marquis wields the authority of the high table like a dandy Darth Vader, and the cruelties in which he indulges go a long way towards making him an ideal foil to John and his cohorts. The high table bureaucracy has long hidden behind intermediaries like Winston and the Adjudicator, and Skarsgård does a great job of embodying the decadence and rot that permeates the organization with increasing severity the higher up the ladder you go. And we have to stop down and just appreciate the fact that even in an age where Bill Skarsgård has already played 30,000 villains, who's keeping track, he still is finding new ground to mine. That was kind of one of the most impressive things about his performance here. It doesn't feel like he's doing Pennywise. It doesn't feel like he's being the sort of coy guy that he was in Barbarian, which is that performance is kind of the whole thing that makes that movie work, side note. Skarsgård's so good here. I think he's still picking scenery out of his teeth. I'm pretty sure. I'll bet on that. I'll bet one coin. I have it here. It was supposed to be in that pocket. It's somewhere, I'll find it. By the end of the review, I'll find it. Chapter 4 firmly cements John Wick as standing shoulder to shoulder with the Matrix's Neo as part of Keanu Reeves' nearly unparalleled action hero lineup. The raw-nerved rage of the freshly widowed Wick that wowed in the original movie has progressed into something even more deadly: resolve and focus. Reeves conveys these qualities with practiced restraint, so complete here that the occasional one-liners or subtly raised eyebrow come off as authentic to the character and not beholden to any cliches of the genre.
What about you, Mr. Vick?
I'm going to kill you.
Sometimes if you bake your cake well enough, you get to eat it too, and folks, Keanu Reeves knows how to bake a cake. John Wick may be the namesake of the franchise, but his journey has increasingly emphasized the importance of social contracts and shared history. That investment fully blossoms with Chapter 4's murderer's row of John Wick characters. Winston, Sharon, and the Bowery King serve as John's counsel, and while Lance Reddick and Lawrence Fishburne's presence is limited to only a few scenes, their impact is maximized thanks to those performers' signature gravitas and command of their characters. Fishburne, for instance, starts the movie off in grand Fishburne fashion with a abandon all hope ye who enter poetry read as he moves through his kingdom, the sewers of New York. It really sets the movie off on a very tonally appropriate foot. Despite having shot John off the roof of the Continental at the end of Chapter 3, something no one's really got any hard feelings over, that's kind of like knocking somebody's drink over accidentally in this world, Winston continues in his role as a surrogate father to John, and Ian McShane's characteristic confidence both bolsters the myth of John Wick and maintains the Continental manager's reputation of being the smoothest operator in the game. It's really a strength of the scripts across all 4 John Wick movies when you really stop to think about it, which is how powerful of a job they do with supporting characters and making all of their, not all of their dialogue, but a lot of it, just about reinforcing how terrifying John Wick is. It's like people are telling a ghost story about a guy that's still alive. Of all the excellent new additions to the cast though, Donnie Yen's Kane stands apart. An imposing antagonist introduced as a longtime contemporary of Wick's, the blind assassin's reluctance to enforce the Marquis's orders without question echoes John's rejection of his own call to serve and be of service. That parallel adds a surprising amount of empathy to their encounters, but it doesn't keep Kane from going after John with everything he's got. Yen's affable demeanor and brutal efficiency give his flavor of the series' gun fu a lightness and style all its own, and Kane's wild ingenuity in battle leads to delightful, laugh-out-loud finishers. Folks, when I tell you that doorbells are about to have a moment, trust me. Also in the mix is Shamir Anderson's unnamed tracker, I Lost My Balance, an operative who bears the heavy burden of having a dog in a John Wick movie. That is one hell of an albatross to hang around your neck from the go. Tracker's shifting allegiances, combat skills, and close relationship to his canine companion provide a nice simmering paranoia for Chapter 4 to employ when a wild card is needed to spice up Wick's progress. There's also Klaus, and we're gonna stop down here. I need to talk to you about Klaus. There's only two things that you're gonna know about Klaus by the time this movie's done. He's a big old boy and his name is Klaus. That's all you need to know. His involvement takes up way less time than I have taken in explaining Klaus to you, but trust me when I say you will not miss him and you will not forget him. In an age of increased grumbling about films with 2+ hour runtimes, Chapter 4's roaring pace serves as a counter-argument that proclaims movies should be as long as they need to be. Over the course of 3 Wick chapters, I just held up 2s, director Chad Stahelski has developed a keen sense of when to speed John through a room full of heavies with surgical precision, and when to let him and those of us watching luxuriate in the carnage he can unleash in more intimate encounters. Stahelski's attention to detail across every element of the action in Chapter 4 is appreciable and well communicated by Shay Hatton and Michael Finch's script. For instance, it's established early on through dialogue that the High Table forces that are now coming after John wear impenetrable body armor from head to toe. Which, yeah, kind of sounds like a video game, but it really works here because Stahelski pays that information off through action, not through more dialogue, as the armored foes force Wick to adjust his traditional strategy of shooting people in whatever part of the body he was asking for it most. I hope you folks came hungry for neck shots because let me tell you, you are leaving Chapter 4 well fed. The High Table's lengthy siege of the Osaka Continental may just be the single best action sequence in the John Wick films to date. And this is a series that has already outdone nearly every other contender in that category. Stahelski balances multiple perspectives on the assault expertly and sustains the momentum of each character's efforts through the extended bloodbath. And what do I mean by that? Let's take an example from a movie we've probably all seen, Return of the Jedi. We have 3 perspective characters or character groups: Luke, Han and Leia, Lando. Lando's attacking the Death Star to destroy it. Luke is on the Death Star trying to convince Darth Vader to come back to the light side and not kill all of his friends. Han and Leia are trying to destroy the shield generator so Lando can destroy the Death Star. Everyone's got a goal they're working towards. Everyone is only focused on that goal. We understand what everybody achieving their goal will mean for the overall story. It's the same thing in Chapter 4 in the Osaka sequence. It also feels like it lasts for like 45 minutes in the best way possible. I'm sure it's shorter than that, but when I say it's an extended bloodbath, I mean it. That scene feels like it goes on forever, and you just kind of want to live there by the end of it. Chapter 3 gave us a taste of what happens when a Continental manager crosses the table, but as Winston's counterpart in Cool, Hiroyuki Sanada's Koji Shimazu faces their full wrath with unwavering conviction. Stahelski uses Shimazu's relationship with his daughter Akira to underline what morality looks like in a world full of killers. And Sanada is just as impressive in their tender father-daughter moments as he is with a blade in hand. What makes the Osaka sequence even more satisfying is how it reinforces Chapter 4's friendship theme. Again, every piece of action in this movie is driving towards communicating character and story. That's why I'm freaking the hell out here. Wick's not trying to get out of the Osaka Continental with any kind of speed or stealth. He is going for maximum damage. And the reason why is not because it's fun for us to watch, it's because he knows that he brought this mess to Shimazu's doorstep. He's being a good friend! He's packing in and packing out! The action's close tie to John's interior condition is also wonderfully demonstrated later in a sickeningly stressful chase and fight around the Arc de Triomphe. deployed when John is at his most harried. Again, the most effective action sequences in film also reflect and reinforce character. Chapter 4 never forgets that, and it's one of the reasons that even at 2 hours and 45 minutes long, it completely holds you for that entire time. For a series which has always looked stylish as hell, Chapter 4 sets a new standard for production design and cinematography. Locations across Osaka, Paris, Berlin, and New York have distinctive architectural qualities which allow director of photography Dan Laustsen varied opportunities to wash characters in the series' iconic candy-colored neon hues. And that's all complemented by a punchy score from Tyler Bates and Joel J. Richard, which traces Chapter 4's movements from culture to culture and converses with the action in ways that alternatingly emphasize and undercut big moments to great effect.
The Baba Yaga. Come on.
It seemed like an impossible task, but the Baba Yaga has a history of delivering on those. John Wick Chapter 4 stands above its predecessors and the past decade's worth of action films as a whole as a modern epic, something Keanu Reeves and Chad Stahelski have been driving at since 2014. Wick's World War is bursting at the seams with creative, thrillingly staged action choreography and cinematography, perfectly pitched performances from an outstanding and unforgettable cast of allies and villains heralded by a merciless Bill Skarsgård, all without losing its grip on the sensitivity that keeps John's struggle for absolution at the heart of every bullet fired and every edged weapon swung. I'm gonna find the coin now if we're coming into the end. I should pay off that joke. Flip Chapter 4 a gold coin across the table and see what happens when John Wick lands a perfect shot. Thanks for watching. For more reviews, check out what we thought of Scream 6 and Creed 3, and as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN. Be seeing you.